Lovable 2.0 just dropped, and today we're going to be testing out. So literally just came out a few hours ago. You can see it's available at lovable.dev, and this is basically like a vibe coding tool that was decent already, but I want to test out and see how good it is for actually creating content, creating new apps, etc. So we're going to test this out in a second, and let's run through it. So if you've never used Lovable before, it's very similar to like Bolt or these sort of no-code tools, and you can vibe code with it and that sort of thing. You can build apps and websites ready to go. And some of the new upgrades are a brand new UI, so you can see it looks a bit different versus before. They also have this multiplayer option, right, which is basically like workspaces. So everything is connected to a workspace, and you can have like personal workspaces, you can have team members, etc. And one of the biggest improvements here is the chat mode agent. So basically what you can do here is you can have this chat mode where it doesn't make edits to the code, but you can like ask it for questions and that sort of thing. So we'll test that in a second. And this is agentic, so it can reason across like multiple steps and like think things through and that sort of thing. All right. So as we go through, there's also this security scan as well. I've not tested that out, but basically this just, I think, helps keep your apps more secure. And you've got dev mode as well as visual edits. I quite like the idea of visual edits. That's kind of cool for vibe coding and just, creating better versions of what you already got. You can see you get a lot more control, for example, over the text and that sort of thing. And you can publish to custom domains now. So you don't need to host this stuff to Netlify or anywhere else. You can just go ahead and start building and price stuff out. So with that, let's get straight into it. And what we're going to do from here is I'm going to take let's do just a test run right now. We'll do a SAS landing page. So we'll run that through and see how it goes. Shiam says, I'm literally at a campfire with friends watching this through. Shout out to Shiam. That's what we do. Just watch live streams when you're doing a campfire. Appreciate that. Thank you. So we're going to get straight into this. This is what it looks like. So we'll wait for this to load in the background. All types everything says, is this another avatar? Come on, Julian. I think someone genuinely is watching us from a campfire. So shout out to you. And this is a real Julian Goldie. So it's running through now, spinning up the preview. It's creating the content, the landing page for a SAS startup. We'll see what that comes back with in a sec. Hope it does a bit. To be honest with you, I don't know about you, but I've stopped using like Bolt pretty much completely. I tried to create an image coding app with it yesterday, and it was a total nightmare compared to like coding something like Visual Studio Code. But let's see what we get back now. Did that just make a crazy noise, or was that just me? Here we go. All right, so Zenith SAS, it's come up with streamline your workflow. It's not bad. To be honest, it looks very, very similar to like the old version. To be honest, like I've tested this before. That doesn't look that impressive to me, honestly. But let's see what we got here. So we got the chat option as well. We can chat with it and just say, okay, how can we make this more interesting? So if we zoom in at the bottom here, you can see the chat option, and that's where you can chat without making edits. So we could say, okay, how can we make this more interesting and improve the UI? Something like that. Let's see what that does. So it's reading through the code, it looks like, taking a look at the current UI. And then it says, still don't like the UI that much. You see, for example, I'm trying to read this and it just keeps scrolling down with the new updates. Super annoying. Super annoying. All right, so based on my review of the components, I can suggest several improvements. Hero section, okay, so we got all that. And then this is interesting. So it says, these improvements will make your SAS landing page more engaging. Would you like to implement these changes? If we click implement this plan, is that going to switch from, yeah, switched off chat mode, which is pretty cool. So you can kind of agentically go back and forth with the AI, discuss what improvements you want to make, and then when you're ready, you can click implement this plan and it will just build it out for you. So you can see it's got working right here in the bottom left. You probably can't see that because it's tiny on the screen. Seems to be doing something. And then if we open up the preview in the new tab, let's see what we get. All right, this is, I'm not going to lie to you, like it's pretty slow for going back and forth. That's a preview of the website we just built in SAS. It looks clean, it looks nice, but it's not, it doesn't seem like a big upgrade versus what we had before on Lovable version 1. And then it's right in the features. You can see what it's doing here. So if you click on that feature there, you can see the code that's being edited and that sort of thing. I wonder if we can create multiple projects side by side, you know, so we have one tab creating the SAS landing page, and then we can have another tab actually building something interesting, right? So what I want to do with this is I want to create like a thumbnail tool. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This is something I'm working on because I honestly despise the process of creating YouTube thumbnails. It's after you've done 1,700 videos, it can get a little bit monotonous, especially even if you have a designer, right? Like there's a lot of back and forth and that sort of thing. So for example, we've got this tool right here that actually coded with Visual Studio Code. Basically what you can do is like enter your API key, plug in the thumbnail prompt, and then from there you can generate a thumbnail. Right. And so what I want to try and do is build that inside Lovable, because honestly, the UI is okay, but it's not great. So whilst that's coding out the SAS landing page, I'm going to try and build this out, right? This image generation tool right here. So the way that I'm going to do that, I'm going to take the prompts from the AI Profit boardroom, and we're going to say here, create an app, blah, blah, blah. Don't use DALL-E 3. We'll take that information right there. Plug it into Lovable. So create an app where I can insert my GPT image 1 API from OpenAI to build image generation apps. Then what I'm going to do is I will take some documentation on the API right here. So I'll take that. I don't know if I can plug that fully in as knowledge. Maybe I can. Yeah, it seems okay actually. There's no limit right there. And then what I also want to do is I'm going to take the documentation from OpenAI's website for building with that app. Where is it? There we go. All right, so we're going to take this. I'm going to take this. I'm going to plug that into ChatGPT. Into Lovable. So basically what we're doing is creating an app for image generation. We want to use GPT image 1. Here's the documentation. We're going to delete that because we've already got it inside the prompt. I've added some common errors to avoid. And then we're just going to see what happens next. All right, so Lovable 2.0 was let us down on the SAS landing page. Like you can see right here, we've got, this is what I don't like about these sort of vibe coding tools, is like quite often they do break. Bolt.new is the same. Like it just gives you so many errors. But I think it's good for you to see that on a live stream so you can see, okay, is it good or is it not? How good is it? So in the meantime, we're now generating the AI app image generator. Like you can see, so it said, I'll help you create a thumbnail generation app using OpenAI's GPT image 1. Let's create a beautiful and functional interface that makes it easy to generate professional images. It's doing that, V1, etc. The only thing that I'm worried about when it builds this out is like, number one, it doesn't realize that DALL-E 3 is very different to GPT image 1 API for generating images. And then number two, that it just comes back with the usual errors I've already told it to avoid. But we'll see how it goes. If it does that, if it does it perfectly, I'll be impressed. If not, I'm kind of like, not that great, but we'll see what we get. So this is the landing page. That, to be fair, that is looking a lot better now. So this is V3. We fixed the code. We went back inside the chat, coded something out nicely, and we've got pretty clean and nice landing page, not gonna lie. Then you, of course, like want to insert your images inside the page, but it's pretty cool. All right, now I want to try this edit feature right here. So you can actually select or edit select to edit or ask Lovable to modify, right? So for example, what you can do here is you can highlight, this is very different to bold.new. You can actually highlight, kind of like a page builder, different parts of the website that you want to edit, right? So you see here how you can, for example, like select the section or select page 2 or select the paragraph. And then you can go between the different div sections here and just edit what you want, which is pretty cool. So, I mean, you can basically select like a certain piece of this and say, right, I want to edit this, right? And then you can actually change in real time the colors of the image, which is super unique. Like I've never seen that before in a sort of vibe coding tool like that, right? There's also an advanced section here where you can code in, but the fact that you can just visual edit as well as code edit is pretty cool. And then also the benefit of this versus something like Visual Studio Code is that you don't have to plug in an API. You don't have to have so many technical skills, and it's a lot more user-friendly. It's kind of like Elementor on steroids. So let's go back to the thumbnail generator app right here. I think we have to plug in an API key first. So I'm just going to grab in the background an API key, and we'll use that inside our tool. So let's do that. If you want to grab an API key for generating images inside OpenAI, you just go to create a new secret key and then plug that in. I'll do that in the background. I want to see as well, is that going to, yeah, it's going to hide my key, which is good. So I've copied my key. I'm going to plug it in here. We'll hit save key. Now we can try and generate our tool. So you can see here, you've got options between high, medium, low. You've got a selection between YouTube and Square. Actually, what would be quite good is like you could create like Facebook ad and YouTube ad thumbnails, right? So let's say, for example, okay, Sam Altman looking shocked as an AI robot makes money on a laptop. I feel like there's going to be an error as soon as I click this, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, there you go. API request failed. Okay, great. Thanks, mate. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to say error API request failed. Can you fix this? GPT image 1 integration. The API key is definitely correct. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go inside the chat here, chat to the AI first, and just try and plan out what are the next steps and how to improve this first before we actually make any changes and go off and improve the code. So we can kind of plan it inside Lovable first. So we've got that. Okay, we'll click on implement this plan to see if that improves. So SAS tool is looking pretty good. I mean, I can't argue with that. SAS landing page, pretty good. The thumbnail generator we're building in the process. I do like the fact as well you can build like multiple at the same time, right? So you can build multiple projects at the same time. What would be interesting here as well is like, can you create a game, right? Can you create a game? So I'm going to say, okay, create a flight simulator game in Three.js. See if we can do that. All right, so that's supposed to be fixed now. We'll see if that works. We'll test this out. So we got our flight simulator being created right here. We're creating a image YouTube thumbnail generator right here. And then additionally, we've already created this SAS landing page, which is pretty cool. I don't like the fact that every time you click it, it refreshes a page, but you know, you can't have everything. And then it's spinning up the preview for this. All right, so I'm going to X off that. By the way, if you want all these prompts, etc., just get it inside the AI Profit Boardroom. It's just like a community focused on making money and saving time with AI. And literally it gets updated every single day when there's a good update that comes out. So for example, you can see inside the SAP section here, we've covered the new update from Tray AI, the new OpenAI update, how to generate images inside NA10, etc. Like all of these are step-by-step SAPs that you can use to build anything you want. Pretty cool. All right, so let's get back now to the thumbnail generator. Where's the thumbnail, mate? I think it just refreshes the page every time you click off it. So let's see what we get back here. Daily Demaka says, "Are you really live or recording?" I am live. I don't know why people always ask me that. Like, are you live or are you not live? I am live, my friend. I don't know. I don't like that idea of, people doing a live stream and then actually it's just a recording. That doesn't feel good to me. So yeah, if I say I'm live, I'm live, until the point where AI can replace me. So let's get back to Lovable 2.0 now. Seems to take ages generating. So you can see it's stuck on that right now. Let's see what we get back in a sec. And that says success, your thumbnail is generated, but there's literally no thumbnail. Great. So what I'm going to say now is I'm going to go inside the chat and I'm going to tell the tool, it says success. Preview. I think out of everything that we're building today, like this is the most actionable, but it's also like the hardest and the most complicated to build. So we'll see what we get back in a second. So you can see every time like I want to make a change or fix an error, I'll just go to the chat mode first. This time I've inserted a screenshot plus said like, okay, here's what I want to change. It says, I can see the issue, blah, blah, blah. Here's what we're going to do. Enigmatic says, this is really Julian laughing my ass off. It is indeed. It is indeed, my friend. All right, let's click the implement plan option here. See what we get back. Now it's telling me, it's promising me that it's fixed. But let's see what we get here. So we'll generate the thumbnail, and now it says unknown parameter. All right. We're having some problems here. Even Visual Studio Code would have fixed it by now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try taking a screenshot, and then I'm going to try and grab the documentation again from the AI Profit Boardroom and try and fix this bad boy. So let's go back here. Dio says, how often do you go live? Normally, I would say, yeah, probably every day, pretty much in the morning. Like if I want to experiment with a new tool or figure some stuff out, typically I'll just go live and share my screen whilst I'm getting that done. Daily says, have you tried Trey? Yeah, check out. I literally just released a video on it like about 20 minutes ago. If you check out my main channel, you'll see the update on that. Enigmatic says, there's other people saying you're an avatar. Well, you know, that's how good I am. If you think I'm an avatar, if you think I'm AI, like, you know, I must be working like a machine. So let's see. We've got that tested out right now. I'm going to preview this. We'll enter the API key. And Dio says, sounds great. I'll be here more often to learn. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. So Chris says, I'm just coming into your broadcast. How much experience do you have with vibe coding, and what is the best tool you have found so far for people like me who are not technical? I mean, something like bolt.new, or, I mean, you got to bear in mind, number one, I'm not technical at all. Number two, bolt.new or Lovable, typically the best. And then when it comes to experience, like, I mean, I've spent hundreds of hours testing these vibe coding tools, right? So if you look at the videos I published on YouTube, I published over 1,700 videos about AI and stuff like that. So I have a lot of experience, to say the least. So this is still not working. I'm actually going to say that Lovable for building apps is just totally broken. Like Visual Studio Code coded this out on a live stream yesterday in like 20 minutes. Whereas this app right here is just not working for me. I can't get it to work. No matter how many times I give it the documentation or give it the same error, etc., it's not working. So we're going to give up on that one. That was a fail, which is good. It's good for you to see this stuff. So it said build unsuccessful. We're going to try and fix that. So, I mean, this is what you don't get shown, peeps, is like, you know, it's great for building websites. That's what I would say this is great for. But for building like anything technical, such as an app, or for example, you know, a game even, it seems to really struggle. Like if you gave the exact same prompt to Gemini 2.5 Pro inside AI Studio, you'd get much better outputs. So you can see like it's just coming up with errors over and over and over again. Whereas if you went into like AI Studio, which is free to use, whereas Lovable, you know, I'm paying like $25 a month, you're typically going to get better outputs here. So for example, if we select Gemini 2.5 Pro preview, and then we ask it to create a flight simulator game in 3JS, it should be able to do it. Chris says, I'm looking for a tool which I can develop sites and apps and also publish out. Yeah, so like Bolt, Lovable, Firebase, these are all decent tools for doing that. So let's test this out. So we've got, for example, just to show you side by side, like the difference right here. So if we take, I mean, it's still not working, right? You can see it's still fixing now. If we take the code from Google Studio with exactly the same prompt, plug that in, then we'll get the CSS. And then the JS as well. So actually the CSS should go down here. And then the JS over here. And then we're just going to say inside the chat here, like, but at least you're getting towards a preview, right? So it didn't work first time around, but you can see that at least you get a preview inside AI Studio, whereas inside Lovable, it doesn't give us anything. Right? So for me, I would say like the best use cases for this are actually using building websites. That seems to be really, really good. I think for building apps, it doesn't seem to work from what I've tested so far. And yeah, there we go. You can see this is another example of a tool I built previously. So this is a AI SEO content generator that we built inside Lovable. Let's test if this works. So I'm going to put SEO training Japan, and then we'll take the API key from AI Studio. You can get a free one if you just go over here. And then we'll go to the tool, just see if this works. Yeah, there you go. So it's created the content with this app. See, you know, this is like a content creator, very basic one, obviously, but you can see here how you can easily build like those sort of tools inside here. Anything simple like that you can build. And then obviously the UI here is pretty trash. So what I would do with that is I would go inside the chat and I'd be like, okay, how can we make the UI interesting, sleek, modern, add some color, gradients, etc. Make it look super modern. So the actual functionality works, but you want to improve the UI right here when we're doing this. So we'll just wait and see what Lovable comes back with there. And then it's giving us some ideas on like color scheme, visual flourishes, etc. So now we're going to click on implement the plan. And again, like you can see from all of this that we're not touching the code or thinking about the code, etc. You don't need to be technical in any way to do that. You just create whatever you want. But yeah, the flight simulator totally failed, which is good. It's good that you see that. Taking absolutely ages, but it's saving the changes now. So let's see what this preview comes back with. Yeah, it's looking better. It's looking better. I mean, I still the UI doesn't blow me away. I'll be honest with you, but it's better than it was previously. So, I mean, overall, like, would I switch to Lovable 2.0 versus something like Visual Studio Code? Probably not. I just I like the functionality, I like the features, but it doesn't blow my mind in any way, right? I actually think like the manual editing would probably be much better. But again, if you have to manually edit it, then, you know, what's the point of vibe coding, mate? You know what I mean? What's the point of doing AI? So that's basically how you can use Lovable. Personally, I'm going to give it like I would give it a 6 out of 10. There's nothing that I saw that really blew my mind. So thanks so much for watching. If you want to get all of my best prompts, tips, workflows, etc. on AI agents, AI automations, you know, how to use workflows like Lovable and actually code something decent, feel free to get the AI Profit Boardroom, link in the comments description. And inside there, there's a community focused on making money and saving time with AI. Inside the community here as well, you can ask any questions you have if you ever get stuck. And additionally, you can jump on the live Q&As and just, you know, ask us any questions in live time on a Q&A call. And if you want a free one-to-one SEO strategy session that shows you how we take websites from 0 to 145,000 visits a month and generate hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales on autopilot, feel free to get that link in the comments description. And on this free SEO session, you will get a game plan where you can basically learn how to grow your business and get more free customers from Google. So feel free to put that in, link in the comments description. This is all based on what's working for our clients. Like you can see right here, feel free to book it in. Appreciate you watching, and I will see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye-bye.